Hello everyone, it's Kendra Devlin and we are back for another video of how to give your problems to God without picking them back up and walk in the peace of his answers. I know all of us will try to give something to God and all of a sudden it's like, you didn't leave it there. You picked that sucker right back up and said, no, I'm going to change my mind right now. So how do we actually do that? First, we have to identify that we have pride. That is one thing that we do not like to talk about ourselves. We don't mind saying, oh, well, I got the spirit of fear. We don't mind saying we're fearful. We don't mind saying, I have a low self-esteem, or we don't mind saying, oh, well, I'm a perfectionist. But we have an issue with saying that we're prideful. So you have to actually recognize that when you try to get something to God and you pick it back up, that's pride. That's saying you know better. That's saying, God, I'm not allowing you and I won't allow you to control this situation. So you have to at least identify that you have pride, that you believe that your answers and the way you want to do things is better than God's, although we know it's not. And then you can actually start from there. If you don't identify that you have pride, it's going to be hard for you to realize that God's word over here, what he said in yours, is going to be hard to be able to have his go up and yours go down. So you have to identify that you have pride. Then you have to remember the effects of picking them back up. Like how we'll say, we can count God and what he's done. And really it's hard to try to be able to track God and count God and what he's done. But I want you to track when you actually picked it back up and what you actually did and what happened when you picked it back up and didn't allow God's answers to reign supreme. So what happened? More than likely, things went crazy. When you pick them back up, more than likely things didn't end up the way you wanted to. And at the end of the day, what did God have to do? He still had to come around and say, all right, are you done? Are you done now? Okay, are you done now? Are you going to listen to what I said and not pick back up your problems and your issues? So not only do you have to identify that you are prideful, you have to be able to go back and say, okay, the last time I picked this thing back up, this, and this happened. Had I actually allowed God to do what he was going to do, and I actually allowed his answers to reign supreme, things went a little bit more smoothly, and I had peace, and I had clarity. So you got to track your own self and the things that you've done that was not of God and say, take a moment to say, how did that work out? Okay, yeah, no, that didn't work out. Let me go ahead and not pick that back up. The next thing is remember what God has done when you surrender, right? So the first thing we said was track what you did when you didn't surrender. Now remember when I did surrender, this happened and all these things just started working together in a way that I could not have been able to orchestrate. And so remembering, all right, well, God did so much for me when I actually surrendered. He gave me the peace, the clarity, and understanding that I need when I surrendered. Let me go ahead and not pick that back up. It's going to be hard. I may be yelling at myself. I may be yelling at God. I may be saying this ain't the right way. I may be want to control the narrative and the situation, but don't. Leave it there. Even if there is some wrestling, even when there's some spiritual warfare, even when, again, you want to cry it out and be like, no, I don't want to go this route. Just leave it there. Remember that you are not God. God knows all things, so he knows what needs to happen for things to go the route that brings you back to the ministry, to the purpose that he has called for you. And all these small things here and there are either going to be a barrier because of you, or it's going to be an open door because you actually listen to God. So go ahead and stop trying to rely on yourself and give your problems to God without picking them back up today, because tomorrow is too late to be great.